Well, despite his injuries, Terry was nice enough to take some phone calls from the fans.
He was.
So let's hear some of those right now.
Okay, we're going to start taking some calls for you here, and we'll get right on the line first with Andrew from Port Jefferson Station. Andrew, you with us?
How you doing, John? How you doing, Terry?
Good.
Fine.
We're all pulling for you out here, Terry, and we hope you get you recover soon, if you do. And if you do decide to retire, do you think you'll possibly manage, like maybe Cactus Shack or something?
Honestly, as I have no desire to manage at all. I've done just about everything in the ring, you know, and really is one of the things that, you know, as I always said, is I said that whenever it was time for me to go, is I'd like to just kind of bow out and go. My brother, as I used to ask him when he was going to retire, and he'd say he was never going to retire. He'd like to finish wrestling and then referee. He loves being in the ring, and that doesn't mean nightly either. But if I do go, is I'll just bow out and go, you know.
Okay, Andrew, thanks for your call. 955-1240 is the number to call at the program. And we have another Andrew from St. James next. Andrew, how are you?
Yeah, good morning, John. Good morning, Terry. First, I have a question for Terry, then I'll get to you, John.
Okay.
Terry, do you think you'll ever go and fill in for Dusty Rhodes as Booker? Because I don't think he's going to be in too long. I think his first two pay-per-view events so far were terrible. Do you think you'll fill in for him as Booker of WCW?
Well, there'd have to be a lot of things change, and I really mean that as far as that end of the profession is concerned. It's a very difficult thing to be the booker in any area now because you have so much TV to produce. And I wouldn't necessarily blame anything on Dusty or anybody else down there. It's just a matter of the system that they have, and the system they have is TBS, and they want television production. And if they only had 3 or 4 pay-per-views a year, or 3 pay-per-views, or even possibly 1, I see that as the ultimate way to do large amount of dollars as far as producing them at the box office or on pay-per-view. It's just having the occasional pay-per-view, but if you have so many, it's hard to produce quality.
Mm-hmm. John,
it dilutes, and that's what's happening to them down there is they are diluting their own product, which we all know.
Right.
John, do you have the matches for the June 8th Philadelphia WCW show?
We'll be getting that this week, Andrew.
Okay, have a good week.
Okay, thank you.
You take care, Andrew.
Okay, 955-1240 is the number to call. We have one open line. Let's get to Sean from Brooklyn.
How you doing, John? Terry, I want to tell you I saw you defend your NWA title. I've seen all your classic stuff on videotape. I hope you get better soon and make the right decision for your career. And I want your little insight on where you think the WCW and the WWF are going to end up in like the next 2 years. You know, how the competition is going to be going.
Well, I think it will. I think it's what's going to happen is it's a very funny thing is those two organizations progress with what happens in the profession. I don't think, as much as we think that they have plans and everything else, what actually makes them make up their mind and make decisions is by the amount of money they're doing at the box office. And I think just what I told Andrew just a second ago is going to happen, and it'll be less and less pay-per-views and less shows that you will see, because some of them, because of numbers, they'll cut down on shows because they haven't got the numbers. But the ones that remain will pick up more and more of a viewing audience. And what you'll see is large amount of dollars being done, huge business, but fewer shows.
Oh, okay. Now the independents, do you see them like Herb Abrams making a splash into pay-per-view? Do you see other federations doing that, like the USWA pushing towards that or things like that?
I honestly and seriously think that there is room for another promotion on a national basis, and I think it's if one evolved, we have said this for years, that if one evolves, it'd be a wonderful thing. But I think the time is ripe for a new organization to come up and sprout up. And the one way that they could do that would be to get a national television show and only have one show a week, and it'd be absolutely astronomical the amount of dollars that they could produce.
Okay, listen.
But as far as independents are concerned, I think independents can continue to do well if they are well promoted, well ran things. Fly-by-night promoters will have a great deal of difficulty, but the independents that's sharp, that knows the business and knows how to promote, knows how to work hard, will do business. But that working hard is very important for the independent promoter, and knowing how to promote a town and knowing how to get the publicity out. But to just think that I've got these wrestlers here won't do it.
Okay, listen, Sean, thank you for your call. You know, Terry, I was watching some old videos last night. We're having a video party later this
I bet
afternoon.
they could have been real old if they had me on them.
Well, I saw some of yours, and this particular promotion was Bill Watts' UWF. Now, I can't believe, I just can't stop talking about it. It was the first time I've had the opportunity to see some of that stuff. I thought what they were doing down there was just phenomenal. Did you ever get involved with that group when you were actively working?
Absolutely. And the one thing that I thought was one of Bill's greatest assets or things that he did, and he had a very great teacher in Eddie Graham. And Eddie Graham was a wonderful, wonderful booker and a wonderful, knowledgeable man in the sport of wrestling. And Eddie taught Bill a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not just saying this to further my family or anything, but my father taught Eddie Graham.
Right.
And Bill was terrific. And the one thing that he did is he put on very competitive athletic matches, and he had a very, very great type of commentary that was a very serious type of commentary. There was not any, not a lot of one-liners and fun-loving stuff. He stuck to the matches and what was going on in the ring, and he was very concerned with bringing the fans' focus into that particular match.
Boy, those fans were so enthusiastic watching the old tapes last
But with
night.
his commentary, he would make the fan focus on what was going on in the ring, and that was the most important thing to Bill. And in this day and age, we get and I'm not knocking the commentators. It's just times have changed, and the commentary is I've got to promote, and it's not their fault, but they've got to promote so many different shows around the country, and they've got to promote so many pay-per-views that they don't sit there and think about what is going on in the ring and promote the match itself. And what caused that, though, was it wasn't because, I'm sure that Bill liked it that way, but also they had to do it that way because of an FCC ruling that you could not talk about promotions and make the whole TV show a promotion for a show around the country.
Mm-hmm.
And now they have a deal to where you can say anything you want to about any show forever,
Yeah, well, I know just watching just a few of those matches yesterday, must watch I could say about a dozen of them, and I was just able to follow the particular storylines, and it was like I was totally involved in UWF wrestling. I felt like I was in a time warp last night, but I just wish there was another promotion like that got you so into it so quickly. And
it was very easy to produce matches of interest on television then, because you didn't have to produce 7 shows a week, and you could put your good guys against your good guys because you had 1 hour of television.
Yeah.
And that 1 hour of television, you could focus your entire thoughts and your entire show and your entire booking process to that one particular hour. And that is what is needed anymore. It's not 5 hours or 4 hours, but there's so much money to be made in syndication. But the real key to it is they think there is. They think that money is to be made this way. But the really big money is to be made by focusing on that hour.
Right.
And producing the very best hour on television and getting it throughout your country. That's why Japan is so successful.
I'll have to agree
because
with
they
that.
produce 1 hour of TV a week.
Which brings us to today, John. How is he doing? Have you heard anything about his health of late?
Well, I mean, he's in assisted living. I spoke to him earlier this year, and he had a hard time remembering, and then he snapped back in, and then he would because I was trying to get him on one of these Pro Wrestling Spotlight Lives that I did on YouTube, and it was talk to him, but I just knew after that conversation that it wasn't going to happen because he was in the middle of a conversation He goes, "Am I John? Are you who you?" You know, he didn't really remember very much. But when I was with Mick Foley not too long ago, a couple of weeks back here in Nashville, he had talked to Terry recently, and he said Terry was sounding better. I guess he's getting the care he needs, and it looks like Terry Funk is fighting as he always has done to this time just remain cognizant and just be the legend that he is. And we wish him the best, and we pray for him all the time.
Well said. And, you know, I'm going to equate him to Buddy Rogers in that both of them were wrestlers every day of their lives. And I know Terry did some acting, famous for Roadhouse and things like that. But he was a wrestler every minute of the day from the minute he got up to the second he went to bed. That's what he was. He was proud of it. He stayed a wrestler even in the outside world. And those guys aren't around anymore. You know, the guys who live it. And hats off to him. If I could talk to him again, I would just say thank you for everything, because who's done more for wrestling than Terry Funk? Nobody. Not even close. It's a true one of a kind.